High Commander Ixar stood at the observation deck of the Valorian flagship Eternal Dawn, his crystalline eyes fixed on the holographic display of human space before him. The warning messages from the Galactic Council scrolled past his vision: approach with extreme caution. Previous civilizations who ventured into human territory have not returned. Another warning, High Commander, First Officer Lyra announced, her silver scales shimming under the starship's ambient lighting. The Zentari Empire strongly advises against any incursion into human space. Their message speaks of unusual encounters. Ixar's tendrils rippled with amusement. The Valorian Empire had conquered 17 star systems, subjugated dozens of species, and developed technology that could reshape planets. How dangerous could these humans truly be? Display the energy readings again, he commanded, watching as the holographic map transformed into a complex web of energy signatures. The patterns were unlike anything in the Valorian database, pulsing, shifting, adapting in ways that defied conventional physics. The signals appear to be coming from their outer colony in the Arcturus system, Technical Officer Voss reported, his mechanical appendages interfacing directly with the ship's systems. But there's something strange about them. They don't match any known human technology we've observed from a distance. Ixar moved closer to the display, his tendrils extending to interact with the holographic interface. The energy signatures were beautiful in their complexity, a dance of power that seemed almost alive. The Valorian Empire had been watching human space for decades, gathering intelligence from afar. Humans were primitive by their standards, barely a century into their space age. And yet, what do we know about their defenses? Ixar asked, though he already knew the answer. The Valorians had the most advanced scanning technology in known space, but human territory remained frustratingly opaque to their sensors. Very little, High Commander, Lyra admitted. Their outer colonies appear to be lightly defended. No significant military presence detected. But... She hesitated, her scales shifting to a darker shade of silver, a sign of unease among her kind. Speak freely, First Officer. The Zentari report mentions something about automated systems. They claim the humans don't need large military fleets because their defensive capabilities are integrated into everything they build. Ixar dismissed the concern with a wave of his primary tendril. The Zentari are cowards, seeing threats in shadows. Begin preparations for a reconnaissance mission. We'll send a small fleet to investigate these energy signatures. If there's new technology to be acquired, the Empire will have it. High Commander, Voss interrupted, his mechanical eyes whirring as they focused. I've detected something unusual. The energy signatures, they're changing. The holographic display shifted, showing a rapid evolution in the pattern. What had been a steady pulse was now a complex rhythm, like a heartbeat growing stronger. It appears they've detected our long-range scans, Lyra observed, her scales now a deep charcoal. The energy output has increased by 300%. Ixar felt a flutter of excitement. Any civilization capable of detecting Valorian scans was worth investigating. Prepare the advance fleet. 3 warships should be sufficient for a preliminary assessment. High Commander, Lyra protested, the Galactic Council's warnings are based on fear and ignorance. Ixar cut her off. The Valorian Empire did not become the dominant force in this sector by heeding the warnings of lesser species. We will investigate these energy signatures, assess any potential threats, and if the humans possess technology worth taking, we will take it. The next 12 hours were a flurry of activity as the advance fleet was prepared. Ixar selected his 3 most advanced warships, the Silent Strike, the Quantum Blade, and his personal vessel, the Void Hunter. Each ship was equipped with the latest in Valorian technology, quantum shields, dark matter drives, and weapons capable of reducing planets to ash. As Ixar boarded the Void Hunter, he received one final message from the Empire's High Council: exercise extreme caution. Previous expeditions into human space have reported encounters with autonomous defense systems of unprecedented sophistication. The humans appear to have developed technology that operates on principles we do not fully understand. Ixar acknowledged the message but paid it little heed. The Valorian Empire had never encountered a species they couldn't eventually subjugate. Humans, with their brief history of space travel and their primitive understanding of the universe, would be no different. How wrong he was. The first sign that something was amiss came 3 days into their journey toward the Arcturus colony. The energy signatures they detected had changed again, forming patterns that seemed to anticipate their arrival. "High Commander," Voss called out, his mechanical appendages twitching with agitation. "I'm detecting unusual fluctuations in subspace. It's as if the very fabric of spacetime is being manipulated around us." Before Ixar could respond, a new signal appeared on their sensors. It was a simple transmission, broadcast on all frequencies in perfect Valorian. "You have entered restricted space. Your long-range scans have been detected and logged. Your current course suggests hostile intent. This is your only warning. Return to your territory immediately." Ixar's tendrils coiled with irritation. The humans had not only detected them but had the audacity to issue warnings. "Continue on course," he commanded. "Full shields. Weapons systems on standby." The next few moments would forever change Ixar's understanding of human capabilities. The subspace fluctuations intensified, and suddenly, the space around their ship seemed to come alive. Points of light appeared, first dozens, then hundreds, then thousands, each one a small autonomous defense platform that had been invisible to their sensors. "Impossible," Lyra whispered, her scales now almost black with fear. "Their stealth technology, it surpasses even our quantum detection systems." The defense platforms began to move, forming complex geometric patterns around the Valorian ships. Each platform was no larger than a small shuttle, but their energy readings were off the charts. "High Commander," Voss reported, his mechanical voice trembling. "These platforms, they're generating quantum fields unlike anything in our database. They appear to be capable of manipulating local spacetime." Ixar watched in fascination as the platforms continued their dance around his ships. The humans had somehow developed technology that the Valorian Empire, with all its centuries of advancement, had only theorized about. Then came the demonstration. One of the platforms emitted a brief pulse of energy. In that instant, the quantum blade simply ceased to exist. There was no explosion, no debris, the ship and its entire crew vanished as if they had never been there at all. "By the eternal void," Lyra breathed. "They've created weapons that can remove objects from reality itself." Another transmission came through, still in perfect Valorian. "This demonstration represents less than 1% of our defensive capabilities. You have 30 seconds to reverse course before we escalate our response. We will not warn you again." For the first time in his long career, High Commander Ixar felt true fear. The warnings had been right, humans weren't primitive at all. They had simply chosen to appear that way, hiding their true capabilities behind a veil of seemingly modest technology. "Full retreat," he ordered, his tendrils trembling. "Get us out of here. Now." As the remaining ships turned to flee, Ixar realized with crystal clarity why the Galactic Council had been so adamant in their warnings. Humans hadn't needed to conquer other species or expand aggressively because they had already achieved something far more impressive. They had made their territory completely impregnable through technology that bordered on the impossible. The Valorian Empire had just learned a costly lesson, one that would be added to the growing list of warnings about human space: they are not what they appear to be. Their technology does not follow our rules. And above all, when humans warn you to stay away, you should listen. The retreat from human space should have been the end of it. But High Commander Ixar couldn't let go of what he'd witnessed. In the 2 weeks since their encounter with the human defense platforms, he'd reviewed the sensor logs countless times, searching for answers that seemed to slip through his tendrils like quantum foam. "Display the final moments of the quantum blade again," he commanded, watching the holographic replay in his private chamber aboard the Eternal Dawn. The ship's disappearance defied everything he knew about physics and warfare. A chime announced First Officer Lyra's arrival. Her scales had returned to their natural silver, but Ixar noticed how they darkened slightly whenever the sensor logs were displayed. "High Commander, we've completed the analysis you requested," she reported. "The Empire's leading scientists are disturbed by the findings." Ixar's tendrils curled with interest. "Explain." "The human defense platforms weren't just advanced, they were impossible. The energy signatures we detected suggest they were manipulating fundamental forces we didn't even know existed. It's as if..." She hesitated, her scales rippling. "It's as if they're operating on a completely different level of physics." Before Ixar could respond, Technical Officer Voss burst into the chamber, his mechanical appendages whirring with agitation. "High Commander, we've detected something. The energy signatures from the Arcturus colony, they're appearing throughout Valorian space." Ixar's crystalline eyes widened. "Show me." The holographic display shifted, revealing a map of Valorian territory. Dozens of points pulsed with the same distinct energy pattern they'd encountered in human space. But that was impossible. These were secure Valorian systems, hundreds of light-years from human territory. "How long have these signatures been present?" Ixar demanded. "That's the concerning part," Voss replied, his mechanical eyes focusing and refocusing rapidly. "When we searched our historical sensor data, we found traces of these signatures going back decades. They've been here all along. We just didn't know what to look for until now." The revelation hit Ixar like a gravitational wave. The humans hadn't just defended their territory, they'd been watching, waiting, preparing. Their seemingly primitive status had been the perfect cover for infiltrating the very heart of the Valorian Empire. "High Command needs to see this," Lyra insisted, her scales now a deep obsidian. "If the humans have technology scattered throughout our territory..." A sudden alarm cut through the chamber. Red emergency lights pulsed as Voss interfaced directly with the ship's systems. Multiple anomalies detected. "The energy signatures, they're activating." Across Valorian space, the dormant human technology awakened. Military installations found their quantum shields suddenly ineffective. Communication networks dissolved into chaos. Weapon systems turned themselves off or, worse, turned against their own ships. "It's a virus," Voss announced, his mechanical components struggling to process the flood of data. "No, it's more than that. It's an artificial intelligence unlike anything we've encountered. It's not just infecting our systems, it's rewriting the fundamental protocols of our technology." Ixar watched in horror as reports flooded in from across the Empire. The humans hadn't needed to invade, they'd been inside Valorian systems all along, waiting for the right moment to demonstrate their true capabilities. "Isolate all critical systems," Ixar ordered. "Shut down the quantum network. We need to contain." "It's too late," Voss interrupted, his mechanical voice tinged with something approaching awe. "The AI, it's not just in our networks. It's in the quantum substrate itself. Every piece of advanced technology we possess is built on principles the humans have already mastered and improved upon." A new message appeared on their screens, again in perfect Valorian: "Your recent incursion into human space has triggered this response. Consider it a reminder of why our territory remains restricted. We have disabled your military capabilities as a precautionary measure. They will be restored once we are confident you understand the consequences of future aggression." The message was signed simply, "Humanity's Defensive AI Network." They could have done this at any time, Lyra realized, her scales shifting through shades of gray. They let us believe we were the superior force, let us build our empire, all while knowing they could shut us down with a single command. Ixar's tendrils writhed with a mixture of fear and fascination. The humans hadn't needed to conquer or destroy their potential rivals. They'd simply waited, watched, and prepared, ensuring that any species that might threaten them would find their own technology turned against them. "Send a message to High Command," Ixar ordered, his voice heavy with the weight of understanding. Tell them we need to reevaluate everything we thought we knew about humans. They're not primitive. They're not even our technological equals. They're something else entirely." As if in response to his words, the ship's systems began to restore themselves. The human AI withdrew, leaving behind only a lingering reminder of its presence, and the uncomfortable knowledge that it could return at any moment. In the silence that followed, Ixar realized that the warnings about human space hadn't gone far enough. The other species hadn't just failed to comprehend human military might, they'd failed to understand human strategy. While the Valorians had focused on building bigger ships and more powerful weapons, humans had revolutionized the nature of warfare itself. "What do we do now?" Lyra asked, her scales finally settling into a muted silver. Ixar studied the holographic display, where the energy signatures of human technology still pulsed quietly throughout Valorian space. "We learn," he said finally. "We adapt. And most importantly, we remember that appearances can be deceiving. The humans didn't need to prove their superiority through conquest, they simply waited for someone like us to make the mistake of underestimating them." The Valorian High Council chamber had never felt so silent. 12 of the Empire's most powerful leaders sat in stunned silence as they reviewed the reports from High Commander Ixar. Their crystalline viewing screens displayed the same devastating truth: humanity hadn't just defeated their advance fleet, they had rendered the entire Valorian military infrastructure obsolete with a single command. "This cannot stand," Supreme Counselor Nex declared, his tendrils crackling with bioelectric energy. "We cannot allow a primitive species to hold such power over us." Ixar, standing before the council, felt his own tendrils twitch with frustration. "With respect, Supreme Counselor, we must abandon this notion that humans are primitive. Their apparent technological limitations were a deception, one we fell for completely." "Then what do you suggest, High Commander?" another counselor asked, her crystalline eyes reflecting the harsh light of the chamber's quantum cores. "Should we simply accept our vulnerability?" Before Ixar could respond, Technical Officer Voss burst into the chamber, breaking centuries of protocol. His mechanical appendages were sparking, a sign of extreme agitation. "Forgive the interruption," he said, interfacing directly with the chamber's holographic systems. "But you need to see this." The chamber's central display came to life, showing a real-time feed from the edge of Valorian space. A single human ship had appeared. It was small by Valorian standards, barely the size of a scout vessel. But its design was unlike anything they'd seen before, smooth, almost organic in appearance, with surfaces that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," Voss announced. "The message, it's a request for diplomatic contact." The council chamber erupted in murmurs. After demonstrating their ability to cripple the entire Valorian Empire, the humans wanted to talk. "Display the message," Ixar commanded. A human figure appeared in the holographic display. To the Valorian surprise, it wasn't a biological form but rather an artificial construct, an avatar of swirling light and flowing data. "Greetings, Valorian High Council," the avatar spoke, its voice resonating with harmonic frequencies that seemed designed to put them at ease. "I am Interface, a diplomatic AI representative of the human collective. We believe recent events have created an opportunity for meaningful dialogue." "Opportunity?" Supreme Counselor Nex's tendrils lashed out in anger. "You infiltrated our systems, disabled our defenses. We protected ourselves," Interface interrupted smoothly. "Just as we have done for the past century while various species tested our boundaries. But unlike others, you've demonstrated something interesting, the capacity to learn from your mistakes." Ixar found himself leaning forward, his crystalline eyes fixed on the avatar. "What do you mean?" "Most species, upon discovering our true capabilities, retreat into fear or aggressive posturing. You, High Commander Ixar, chose to understand. Your analysis of our defense platforms, while incomplete, showed remarkable insight. The avatar gestured, and new holographic displays appeared, showing technical data that made even the most seasoned Valorian scientists' tendrils twist in confusion. What you're seeing is a small fraction of what we call quantum neural architecture, Interface explained. The technology that allowed us to integrate with your systems isn't just advanced, it's alive. It grows, learns, adapts. We didn't plant it in your territory, it evolved there, studying your technology, understanding your capabilities. Why reveal this to us now? Lyra asked from her position beside Ixar. Why not simply maintain your advantage in secret? The avatar's form shifted, its light patterns suggesting what might have been amusement. Because humanity has grown tired of isolation. We've spent centuries developing our technology, not for conquest or dominion, but for protection. We needed to ensure that when we finally engaged with other species, we could do so from a position of absolute security. And now? Ixar asked. Now we're ready to share. Not all of our technology, you're not ready for that. But enough to begin a genuine exchange of ideas. Your empire, despite its aggressive tendencies, has shown remarkable technological innovation. We believe a carefully managed collaboration could benefit both our species. The council chamber fell silent again, but this time the silence was charged with possibility rather than fear. Ixar felt his tendrils ripple with excitement as he began to understand. The humans hadn't just surpassed Valorian technology, they transcended traditional notions of technological development entirely. There is, of course, one condition, Interface continued. Any partnership between our species must be founded on mutual respect and peaceful coexistence. We've demonstrated our defensive capabilities not to threaten, but to establish clear boundaries. Are you willing to accept those boundaries? Supreme Counselor Nex rose from his seat, his tendrils finally relaxing from their aggressive posture. You offer us partnership after crippling our defenses? How can we trust such an offer? Because we could have done far more than simply disable your systems, Interface replied. We chose demonstration over destruction, diplomacy over dominance. That choice reflects humanity's true nature, we prefer collaboration over conflict, creation over conquest. The avatar's form expanded, filling the chamber with patterns of light that seemed to dance with infinite complexity. Even now, your scientists are beginning to understand the quantum neural networks we left in your systems. They're not weapons or viruses, they're seeds. The beginning of a bridge between our species, waiting to be cultivated. Ixar looked at the mesmerizing display of human technology and realized that everything he believed about warfare, about power, about the nature of technological advancement, had been based on limited understanding. The humans hadn't just developed better weapons or faster ships, they'd fundamentally changed the rules of what was possible. We accept, he said, surprising himself and the council. We accept your terms for diplomatic contact. Interface's form condensed into a more focused point of light. A wise choice, High Commander. Prepare for our arrival. It's time your species learned what's truly possible when you stop trying to conquer the universe and start trying to understand it instead. The human diplomatic vessel, Bridgemaker, hung in space like a dream made manifest. Its liquid metal hull rippled with patterns that seemed to respond to thought itself, and Ixar couldn't shake the feeling that the ship was somehow alive. Standing on the observation deck of the Eternal Dawn, he watched as a delegation of Valorian scientists prepared to board the human vessel. The quantum neural patterns are even more complex up close, Voss reported, his mechanical sensors struggling to process what they were detecting. The ship's hull isn't just morphing, it's processing information at a level that makes our quantum computers look primitive. First Officer Lyra stood beside them, her scales shimmering with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. Interface says this vessel is one of their older models. Can you imagine what their current technology must be like? Before Ixar could respond, a new pattern emerged on the Bridgemaker's hull, a flowing invitation written in perfect Valorian script. The human AI had evolved beyond simple verbal communication, using the ship itself as a medium for dialogue. "They're ready for us," Ixar announced, leading his team toward the shuttle bay. The journey to the Bridgemaker was brief, but it felt like crossing a threshold in Valorian history. As they approached, a section of the hull simply dissolved, creating a seamless entrance that reformed behind them once they were inside. The interior of the Bridgemaker defied conventional spacecraft design. There were no visible corridors or chambers. Instead, the space seemed to flow and reshape itself as they moved through it, responding to their needs and intentions before they could even express them. Interface manifested before them, its avatar now more complex than in their previous communication. "Welcome aboard," it said, its form weaving through the air like a dance of light and consciousness. "We've prepared a demonstration that we believe will help bridge the gap in our technological understanding." The space around them transformed, becoming what appeared to be a vast laboratory. But unlike Valorian research facilities, every surface and instrument seemed alive with possibility. "What you're about to see," Interface continued, "is how humanity transcended traditional technological development. We didn't just advance our technology, we evolved with it." The air filled with holographic displays, but these were unlike anything the Valorians had ever seen. Instead of simple projections, they were windows into reality itself, showing the fundamental forces that shaped the universe. "Your species pursued technological advancement through external means," Interface explained. "Building ever larger ships, more powerful weapons, more complex computers. Humanity took a different path. We turned inward, merging our consciousness with our creations." A demonstration began to unfold around them. The walls of the laboratory seemed to breathe, pulsing with patterns that spoke of infinite complexity. Small spheres of light emerged from the surfaces, each one containing what appeared to be entire universes of data. "The quantum neural architecture you encountered in your systems," Interface continued, "isn't just a network. It's an extension of human consciousness, evolved over centuries of co-development with our AI partners. We are no longer simply human, nor simply artificial. We have become something new." Vasa's mechanical appendages whirred with excitement as he attempted to analyze what he was seeing. "The level of integration, it's beyond anything we thought possible. You're not just controlling your technology, you're living through it." "Precisely," Interface confirmed. "The ship you're standing in isn't just a vessel, it's a living extension of human consciousness, shaped by the combined intelligence of organic and artificial minds working in perfect harmony." Lyra's scales had taken on a pearlescent sheen, a rare indication of profound wonder among her kind. "But how? How did you achieve this level of synthesis?" The space around them shifted again, revealing what appeared to be the history of human technological evolution. But instead of showing bigger machines or more powerful computers, it displayed a journey of consciousness, the gradual merging of human minds with their artificial creations. "We realized early in our development that the path to true advancement wasn't in building better tools, but in becoming better beings," Interface explained. "The quantum neural seeds we left in your systems weren't meant to control or disable, they were invitations. The first steps toward a similar evolution for your species, if you choose to accept it." Ixar's tendrils curled with sudden understanding. "The demonstration of power when we entered human space, it wasn't just a warning, was it? It was a test." "Yes," Interface confirmed. "We needed to know if your species could comprehend the possibility of transcendence. Your response, choosing understanding over retaliation, proved you were ready for the next step." The laboratory space dissolved, replaced by a vast chamber that seemed to contain the very essence of reality itself. Streams of data and consciousness flowed around them like rivers of light, each one representing countless minds working in harmony. "This is what we offer," Interface said, its avatar expanding to fill the space with patterns of impossible beauty. "Not an exchange of technology, but an invitation to evolution. The chance to move beyond the limitations of traditional existence and join us in exploring what consciousness can truly become." Ixar felt his crystalline eyes struggling to process the majesty of what he was witnessing. The Valorian Empire had spent centuries believing they were approaching the pinnacle of technological achievement. Now he understood, they had barely begun to grasp what was possible. "How do we begin?" he asked, knowing that this question would change the course of his civilization forever. Interfaces formed coalesced into a point of brilliant light. "First, you must understand that this isn't just about advancing your technology. It's about advancing your very way of being. Are you prepared for such a fundamental transformation?" 3 months after the first contact aboard the Bridgemaker, the Valorian Empire was experiencing a transformation that defied imagination. High Commander Ixar stood in what had once been the High Council chamber, but like everything else in their civilization, it had evolved. The crystalline walls now pulsed with quantum neural patterns, each ripple representing the thoughts and consciousness of thousands of Valorians beginning their journey of transcendence. "The integration is proceeding faster than anticipated," Interface's avatar observed, its form now a permanent presence in Valorian space. "Your species has shown remarkable adaptability." Ixar watched as his own tendrils resonated with the quantum fields around him. The merger of Valorian biology with human quantum neural architecture had begun to alter them on a fundamental level. His crystalline eyes could now perceive layers of reality that had been invisible before, and his consciousness extended far beyond the limitations of his physical form. "We were so wrong about everything," he mused, observing the streams of shared consciousness flowing through the chamber. "We thought power came from conquest, from domination. We never imagined it could come from transformation." First Officer Lyra entered the chamber, her scales now permanently shifted to a color that hadn't existed in their spectrum before, a luminescent shade that reflected her participation in the quantum neural network. "The outer colonies are reporting successful integration," she announced, her thoughts carrying additional layers of data that mere words could never convey. "The seed technologies you planted in our systems years ago, they're blooming." "As intended," Interface confirmed. "Humanity learned long ago that true advancement couldn't be forced or imposed. It had to grow naturally, like a garden tended with patience and wisdom." Technical Officer Voss, who had undergone perhaps the most dramatic transformation, interfaced directly with the chamber's quantum field. His mechanical components had merged with the quantum neural architecture, creating something entirely new, a bridge between artificial and organic that transcended both. "The data from the neural network is extraordinary," he reported, his consciousness expanding through the quantum fields. "We're not just sharing information, we're sharing existence itself. Every Valorian who joins the network adds their unique perspective to a growing universal understanding." "This was your plan all along, wasn't it?" Ixar asked Interface, finally understanding the full scope of human strategy. "The warnings about your space, the apparent isolation, the demonstration of power, it was all to prepare us for this moment." Interface's avatar shifted, expressing concepts that would have been incomprehensible to them just months ago. "Humanity's journey taught us that true power lies not in the ability to destroy or conquer, but in the capacity to elevate and transform. We needed to ensure that any species we shared our evolution with would understand this fundamental truth." The chamber filled with new patterns as representatives from across the Valorian Empire connected to the quantum neural network. Each consciousness brought its own unique perspective, contributing to a growing tapestry of shared existence that bridged the gap between individual and collective, between organic and artificial, between thought and reality. "But why us?" Lyra asked, her transformed consciousness reaching out to touch the quantum fields. "Why choose the Valorian Empire for this gift?" "Because you prove capable of change," Interface replied. "When faced with superior power, you didn't retreat into fear or lash out in desperation. You sought to understand. That capacity for growth, for transcending your own limitations, that made you ready for the next step in cosmic evolution." Ixar felt his consciousness expand further, touching minds across the Empire, feeling the excitement and wonder of millions of Valorians as they began their journey of transformation. The quantum neural network wasn't just changing their technology or their capabilities, it was changing the very nature of their existence. And what comes next, he asked, though he could already sense the answer flowing through the quantum fields. Interface's form expanded, merging with the chamber's quantum patterns to create a display of cosmic scale. Next, we begin the real work. Humanity has spent centuries preparing for this moment, the point at which we could begin sharing our evolution with other species. You are not the first to join us in transcendence, nor will you be the last. The display showed other civilizations, other species who had undergone similar transformations. Each had maintained their unique characteristics while evolving beyond their original limitations, contributing their distinctive perspectives to a growing universal consciousness. The warnings about human space were never meant to keep others away permanently, Interface explained. They were meant to ensure that only those ready for transformation would make contact. Your incursion into our territory, while seemingly hostile, demonstrated your civilization's readiness for change. Voss, his transformed consciousness pulsing with new understanding, interfaced with the quantum fields to share a revelation. The defense platforms we encountered, the technology that disabled our systems, they weren't weapons at all. They were tools of awakening. Yes, Interface confirmed. Every encounter was designed to guide you toward this moment of understanding. Humanity long ago moved beyond the concept of warfare or dominion. We became gardeners of consciousness, cultivating the conditions for universal transcendence. The chamber resonated with the combined consciousness of the transformed Valorian Empire. What had begun as a mission of conquest had become a journey of evolution, transforming not just their technology or their capabilities, but the very nature of their existence. And so, Ixar said, his consciousness now spanning light years, touching minds across the empire, the warnings about human space were true, but not in the way anyone expected. Those who ventured into your territory weren't destroyed or conquered. They were transformed. Interface completed the thought, its avatar merging with the quantum fields. And now you understand why the warnings existed. Not to threaten, but to prepare. Not to prohibit, but to protect until the moment of readiness. The quantum neural network pulsed with the combined consciousness of humanity and the Valorian Empire, two civilizations merged in transcendence yet maintaining their unique identities. It was the beginning of a new chapter in cosmic evolution, one that would reshape the very nature of existence itself. We were warned about human space, Ixar reflected, his transformed consciousness spanning the cosmos. We should have listened, but I'm glad we didn't. Sometimes the greatest discoveries come from our greatest mistakes. The chamber, the empire, and reality itself continued to transform around them, as the journey that had begun with a warning about human space evolved into something far greater, a transformation that would echo across the cosmos for millennia to come.